y'all, it's Erica. In today's video I am going to be showing you how I got my custom honey blonde highlighted birthday unit. Really cute, perfect for summer. These highlights are so on trend right now, so if you're wondering how I got this look, please stay tuned. Alright, so to get started, this is the unit. This is just one of my older wigs that I had that I wanted to transform and make something brand new. I think it's about 28 inches altogether. So you want to start with your unit pinned down, of course, and I'm going to start off by sectioning off this triangular piece in the front of my unit. This is going to be like my money piece shot, what you would call it. So it's just like this small little triangular parting. You can do this any way that you want. I prefer to make little diagonal triangular money pieces, just so that if I want to wear it to the side, I still can have that option. So now you want to grab some clips and you want to go ahead and section your hair off into 4 sections. They don't have to be perfect, just something for you to work with. And I'm going to be taking my Clairol BW2 powder bleach, and then the kaleidoscopes in the blue color, and also the Clairol creamy developer in a 40 to do this process. And I'm also going to be using foil. Don't judge me. I like to use regular old Walmart, you know, Thanksgiving Day, wrap that turkey up type of foil, because you can make them as long as you need to for as long as your hair, and you get more for your buck. So yes, sis, don't be bougie. I'm also taking a foiling brush just because I found it easier to use one of these versus a color brush and a foiling comb in both hands. Like when you're working fast, because this is a fast process, but you still want to take your time, this just comes in handy to help you get what you need done without doing all that extra-ness. Boom. Also, so if you're new to color, you can pick up one of these backboards that you can press your color into. That's only if you're new to color, new to lightener, and you don't really know how to deposit the color in the lightener well. So that's just an option, just extra, but it's not mandatory that you do that. All right, so we're getting started with the hair. I'm taking a small diagonal subsection of hair, and I'm going to be weaving this section. That way, if I want to flip the hair up, you know, over, I can do that. So first things first, let's learn the difference about slicing and weaving. Weaving is this motion that I'm showing you here, where it's in and out, up and down motions throughout the hair. That's going to give you those chunkier highlights and lowlights that you can see. So basically, you're just doing like I'm showing you here with my finger, up, down, up, down, up, down. Slicing is when you take that subsection of hair and you split it down the middle, and you just have it in half, and your top piece is your highlight or your low light, and then the bottom vice versa. So it's mainly based on the look that you have. So you want to kind of like have in mind, you know, what you want your unit to look like. So to start my unit off, I always go in the back of the head. And I like to take a diagonal slice. That way, you know, when I flip my hair over, I'm blended and I'm good. So I'm starting off with a low light. The low light is the one that doesn't have the lightener. That's going to be the piece below it. The more foils that you have, that means the more highlights that you're going to have. So if you want a really bright, really highlighted look, then you want to do a ton of foils. I think all over my whole head, I probably had like 40 foils. So it's really just your preference on how you want to do this. All right, so once you make sure that your hair is fully saturated, you don't have like any lines, any, you know, harsh marks, you want to go ahead and seal that bad boy up. We're gonna let her cook, let her do her own thing. So once I have that one diagonal slice, now is the time that I like to go into the full part of the head, and I go in with weaving for the rest of the head for the most part. But I'll show you the difference when I get around to the top. But I do the exact same thing on the left side as I do on the right side. And now, as you can see, I'm just going in with weaving motions. I want to say I'm really bad at measurements and numbers, guys. So I don't know if this is exactly right. I think they're probably like 1/4 of an inch thick, my weavings, if that. That's basically how I do them. And how I like to do it is I like to kind of like look at the piece that I have below it. So as you can see, kind of like right here, I have like a little highlight right here. So I make sure that end of this subsection here is going to be a low light, just so you know I keep that alternating pattern. So as you can see, that bottom piece right there on the right hand side of my brush, that is going to be a low light because it is right next to a highlight. As you can see, that's right there in the foil. So I kind of like to keep the tips there just to remind myself like, hey, we need to alternate every other piece. That way, you know, we look like a caramel macchiato, whatever, however, whenever. And I know I said kind of like have an idea in your mind of how you wanted this to go, but you don't have to. Honestly, this was like a freestyle for me for my birthday. Like I didn't really plan this out. So as you can see in some of them, I'm going to take the lightener all the way up to the root of the hair. And then on other ones, I'm kind of going to blend it out, make it kind of like a little balayage ombre type of effect, just because I couldn't decide like ever if I wanted like a full head of, you know, foils to the roots, or if I wanted a little shadow. So I decided to, you know, do a little of both, see how it goes, and go from there. And I can't speak for anybody else, but this whole process of weaving is just so aesthetically pleasing to me. I love seeing like all the different pieces, the ups, the down, how it separates and the partings. Like I just think it's just so pleasing to look at. Like I said, you can make your highlights as thick or as thin as you want them. So if you want a fairly bright look, then you want to make sure your weaving pieces are super thin. Like mine are like a average size. They're not too thick, they're not too thin. This is a really good showcase of like how thick and how thin they are right here. And you can kind of like see how I'm going in and out. Like if I don't really like it this much, then you know I'll edit it out, or I'll thin it out however I want it to be. They don't all have to be unison either. That's what gives you the good gradient, the good difference and variation. That way when you move, it's just like the wind. That's the cool thing about doing custom hair color. You know, you can customize it to your liking. This is just how I'm doing mine. That's not necessarily how you're gonna do yours. That's not necessarily how Mary Jane and Sue is gonna do theirs. So you know, you just go with the flow. As long as you practice, you'll be fine. When I say practice, I mean like you know, just do what you want. Do what you want, girl. Just do what you want. All right, guys, and as you can kind of like see behind some of my foils as I'm going up the head, you can already see where my hair is starting to lift, it's starting to process, it's starting to change color. So you want to keep just a plain water spray bottle on hand, and check on your hair, because you don't want it to burn. You don't want it to get, you know, crazy bright, because that's not what we're going for. Unless that is what you're going for, you just want it super, super, super bright, then so be it. But you just want to keep just a little bottle with some water in it, and also a towel. That way, if they start to lift up to your liking and they get there before you have already completed the whole head, you just want to go in, spray it down real good with the water. That'll stop the action. That'll stop it from lifting. That'll stop any damage on it. And you can just leave it in the foil if you want, and you just want to towel dry it off with that towel that I mentioned. That way, you know, you can still take your time, make sure, you know, the rest of the head is to your liking, and you also save the integrity of your hair. So now we're moving on to the top portion of the hair that I mentioned earlier. This is just how I make sure I do this top part. Not necessarily correct, because there is no right and wrong way. I'm just going to tease about 1/2 inch of the hair up, because I do want it to be a little bit more rooted at the top than at the bottom. And I'm just going to go in and, you know, weave it in, weave it out, do a little shimmy shimmy, do a little thing on it. And that's just how I like to do it, because this is the part where, regardless if you are wearing it down the middle, if you're doing this to the side, this part is going to lay on top of the rest of the hair. So this is, of course, like a primal area for you to be seen. This is what's going to be on top of everything. So I'm just really making sure I'm going in with the light hand to, you know, start to blend it out, start to get that look on there, and, you know, give me that nice gradient effect to the hair. Now I basically do it like kind of in two sections, one on the left, one on the right, and I keep it pretty much side by side, if that makes sense. So like as you can see, like it starts off with like a highlight there in the middle, there's another highlight, and then right there on the end there's a highlight. So I'm going to make sure on this second section over here that is on my right, I'm going to make sure that I kind of weave it in the same motions. That way it still has that same brightness. So as you can see right there by my thumb, there is a low light there, and here are my highlights, just to, you know, just to give me a nice balance, a nice little bit of, not symmetry, because I don't want it, you know, looking like a mirror or whatever, but, you know, just a good balance for just a decent look in the end. And when you tease the hair at the root, like I said, that just helps you build a little bit more shadow, a little bit more depth. And it also actually helps to keep that foil in place a little bit, just because like the hair is heavier up there, so it'll lock down a lot smoother. So now I'm going in with the kaleidoscope using the same 40 developer. I'm using the 40 light, not the 40, the 40 developer, and then the blue powder lightener now. And I am just creating another little section of weaving. I'm using the blue in the front just because I want a different effect to it. So I'm just going in with a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the white, alternating them in and out, just for a little bit more contrast. You don't have to. You can use the BW all over the blue one. It just gives it a little bit more of a toned effect. That way I have more dimensions in my hair. And I'm folding it the exact same way, keeping in mind like my last foil. As you can see, there's a low light right there on the outside, and just keeping that same process. I'm not gonna go in and lift my edges any because I just want to keep them primarily dark. And you just want to remember what you do on the left side, you also want to go back and do on the right side, just to, like I said, just to keep that balance, just so there's a little bit of equalness to your unit. Alright, so I apologize about my angling here. I totally forgot to readjust the camera. But basically for my money pieces, I am taking the lightener all the way up to the root because I want them the brightest, the showstopper, aka that's why we call it the money shot, the money pieces. So I'm taking that lightener all the way up into the root, and I'm making sure that it is really, 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 really saturated. I'm only putting the kaleidoscope, the blue powder on here. Yeah, and we're just going in the exact same way. I don't have to weave it because I already sectioned that out just to be exactly what it's meant to be. I want it bright all over. Alright, so this is the hair with the bleach washed out. It is still really pretty, but we're gonna take her up a notch. I towel dried the hair before I applied the color on it. Yeah, and I'm using my Revlon number 60 dark ash blonde. Y'all already know this is my ride or die. This is my favorite color when I do deposit color on a unit. It just comes out beautifully. And we're mixing the developer with the color, and we're going to go ahead and saturate our hair. Same process applies as when we were saturating the bleach on there. Just go ahead and take your bottle, or how I like to do, anything that you can throw away, because girl, after all this here process, we be tired. So yeah. And just as a reference, so you know about how much color I use for the whole head, this wig has a 13x6 frontal, 4 bundles, longest bundles like a 28-inch. I used a total of 4 boxes of color. This color is, I honestly think it's cheaper if you get it at Walgreens, because they always have it like $2 for $5, so that makes like $2.50. Alright, so this is where we are at. The color is all rinsed out. Sorry about the quality. My assistant was not trying to cooperate, but that's a whatever. So I use the L'Oreal Color Vibrancy color protecting shampoo, and then I also use some Shimmer Light shampoo to really balance my color out and get it balanced to where I needed it to be. I let the purple shampoo sit on for about 15 minutes or so, and that was pretty much that. And that really helped to, blend out, even though I really didn't have that much, that really helped to blend out any brassiness that I might have had. So then I whipped up this little concoction of this Rose Peach Color Shine Glaze. Also the conditioner that came in the box with the color. And then I also mixed in some of my silicone mix in this little bowl here. And I did that, and I let this sit on my hair for probably about 2 to 3 hours, just to really, moisturize the hair, get it healthy, get it glowing. That way when I get ready to style her, she is all beautiful and good to go. So this is what it looks like. You can see all the beautiful colors peeping through. This is prior to me applying the conditioner, by the way. It's just really pretty, really bomb. I really love how this is coming out. And so yeah, this is the consistency of that little concoction that I just told you about, the conditioners. Yeah, so you want to let that sit, let it cook for about 2 hours. It's really up to you. It really just based on how much time you got. And this is what it looks like, all sitting and marinating. So if you have seen any of my previous hair care, wig coloring videos like that, you know that I always let my hair air dry itself, just because I know I'm going to damage it when I go in the flat iron or curl it. So this is just the hair semi dried via air dry. This is what it looks like. Really cute. All right, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little something, and stay tuned for my next video on how I got this look featured here. And as always, I love you. Thank you so much, and bye.